to the No More Bohica Podcast. I'm your host, Biddy, aka Gary Crosby Klobitsky Jr. I'm joined by They Call Me Bruce Drager, and the Poobah, Pete Capoletti, is joining us by phone, fishing for answers in Forest Lake, Minnesota. And the angry Muslim Ramsey called in sick today. He's mentally ill, apparently. He's a bit too angry to get on in front of a camera right now, so we got to give him a break. And who could blame him? There's a lot to be angry about. We have a couple guest stars, Momo and Bean, that appeared last time, and if they jump in, hopefully they'll do that. So, to get started today, let's talk real quick about what No More Bohica means. I mean, it started out as the name of a political party that I formed in 2024 to protest our corrupt government. And I went on camera to protest it and said that my number one campaign promise was to eliminate lobbyists because they're legalized corruption. You know, and I'm not Nostradamus. I've been seeing this stuff for decades, and it's all on tape back in 2024 when I did my presidential plea for people to vote for Biddy. And with that said, I want to announce that in 2028, I will be rerunning for president. I've already selected my vice president candidate as the Poobah, and the No More Bohica Anti-Corruption Party, as it's now called, will be running for president in 2028, and our number one campaign promise will still be that we will eliminate lobbyists and legalize corruption. And I can promise that we're not pedophiles, we're not devil worshippers, and we're not cannibals. So we got that going for us as well.
We're a human.
I think so too. All right, so let's start with an email from a good buddy who shall remain nameless. And as I read his email, I think it'll make perfect sense. He says, "Hey Biddy, good stuff." He's talking about our last episode when we talked about free energy, Epstein, and his connections to cannibalism and devil worship and stuff like that. Good stuff. First of all, I love the facial hair. There were 3 big topics there, all very interesting. I would have loved to hear more specifics on the Epstein situation, particularly regarding names, specific acts, and accusations. As a follow-up to the Iran war topic, you should dig into how AIPAC influences the U.S. government through donations to both sides. It's particularly interesting how that money is essentially derived from the United States aid provided to Israel in the first place. Oh, well, we all kind of know that, but damn it, Hadam, that is a hell of a great point. And then he finishes up with this. You should also hone in on the U.S. media bias towards Israel. It seems the media is controlled to the point where you cannot speak negatively about their actions. You can only use specific terminology such as conflict versus genocide. Furthermore, many who do speak out are fired, blacklisted, or suspended. Hence, the anonymous email. Any comments so far, fellas? How about you, Poobah? What do you got to say?
So it seems like our former teammate knows exactly what everybody else knows, and it's horrendous. How come we all know this? We all know it's true. You can't criticize certain people. You can't talk bad about certain people. They're passing laws to protect speech against certain people, and which flies right in the face of our beloved First Amendment. It's the First Amendment for a reason. The Second Amendment, obviously, is to support the First Amendment, our first 2 amendments.
Right.
And, everybody seems to know what's going on, and no one can do anything about it, apparently.
So I want to address something that is a huge misunderstanding for the American people, okay? I've seen a lot of videos of young men in particular calling out Jewish people for being the source of all the problems. And, if you look at COVID, every single head of every vaccine creating pharmaceutical organization and all the heads of our government programs and everything are all dual citizens of Israel and the United States, and they're all Jewish. And so this fellow drew the parallel that all Jews are bad. But we need to define the difference between Zionism and Judaism, okay? Not every Jew is a Zionist, okay? Zionism is a political movement. And the more I've learned about the Talmud and everything else associated with it, the more sick to my stomach I get. It is obscenely awful, and the more you choose to look into it, the more you're going to probably feel the way I do. Zionism is a political movement that's worldwide. It's dominated by Jews, true, but not every Jew is a Zionist, okay?
Not every Zionist is a Jew.
And not every Zionist is a Jew. And that is the point, the salient point that needs to be made. I believe that we have Zionists in our government. Our government is clearly Zionist controlled through AIPAC and other nefarious means, okay? Now, whether or not we can prove that is really irrelevant, because we all know that something's wrong and nobody is willing to do anything to change it. And the only way it's ever going to change is if we stand up against Zionism. It's the Zionists that control the media. It's the Zionists that control the banks. It's the Zionists that control the pharmaceutical industry. It's the Zionists that were in charge of COVID in our nation through our government, okay? And
You left out the media, Gary.
no, I said them first. The media is controlled by the Zionists. And can I prove that? No. But could I prove that lobbyists were legalized corruption and we needed to do away with them before the 2024 election when I put that on tape? No, I couldn't prove it, but I knew it was happening and I knew it needed to change, okay? And look, I may or may not be right, but Judaism is a religion, okay? And not every Jew follows Judaism, right? So you could be a Jew and not follow Judaism and not be a Zionist and actually be a halfway decent human being, that a respected member of the community. Okay, so not every Jew is bad. And that is where the dichotomy is. The Zionists, every single attack on Zionism becomes an attack on the Jewish people. And you become an anti-Semitic person if you speak out against Zionism. Okay? And they twist it and tie it to, oh, you're anti-Semitic, you're speaking out against Jews. Look what they did to Tucker Carlson. I mean, my God. I've been watching a lot more Tucker, and I got to say, I don't consider him anti-Jewish or anti-Semitic at all. Anti-Zionist? Yeah, I believe that. I think Tucker's anti-Zionist. What do you guys think?
I think he asked the questions.
Yeah.
And he literally is asking the questions. But he's immediately said, if you ask that question, you're anti-Semitic.
Right. If you ask those questions, you're anti-Semitic. Well, look, I'm not big enough for the Zionist media to come after me, and I hope the hell they do, honestly. I could use some negative press. God forbid. But honestly, it's the Zionists, which is a worldwide political movement that is bent on creating a Jewish state to rule over the whole world. Okay? And don't take my word for it. Look into the Talmud. Look at what they actually teach people, okay? It is perverted, disgusting, awful. For instance, if you're a Zionist and you embrace the Talmud, then it's okay for you to have sex with children that are under 9 years old. That's in the Talmud. Yuck, right? And we wonder about this Epstein stuff. My God, this has been right in front of our face the whole time. And what are we doing about it? Okay? Now that I'm aware of it, I'm going to bully the bullies till the sun don't shine, until they kill me. I'm going to bully the bullies for the rest of my life, right?
The problem is they'd be happy too.
They're the bully. The Zionists are the bully right now. They are the worldwide bully. They have taken control of TikTok, right? They want to take control of X, although I think Elon Musk told them to read between the lines. You know, and I watched some old tapes of Netanyahu from like 6 months ago bragging about how he had the United States government in his pocket and all this stuff. And there's a lot of speculation that Israel owns our government. And like you said, 97 senators accepted money from AIPAC. I mean, it certainly looks that way. But my personal belief is that Trump wanted to go to war no matter what. I've gone on record multiple times saying He wants to play with his toys before this happened. You can't trust a word the guy says. He wants to make his mark in history and all that jazz.
Gary, can I
interject, Puba?
I don't think he wanted to go to war. I think he had to.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that is the prevailing thought that I see out there. I will say that the Israeli, our ambassador to Israel, right after the first bombs were dropped, went public and said Israel dragged us into this, and then he recanted that statement shortly thereafter. So that's out there, but and you very well could be right, and I think that's the majority of thought. I personally think that Trump wanted to go to war no matter what. I think the "Hello McFly" moment was when he changed the Secretary of Defense to the Secretary of War. The writing was on the wall from that day forward. Anybody that didn't see it as well, they're just not able to see as well as others. Because here we are, we're at war. I mean, I saw it happen. I warned people. I said he's going to play with his toys.
Well, I think the problem that we're seeing, we can't even define if it's a war or a conflict. We can't say it's a war because that doesn't, so some say war, some say conflict. We can't even determine whether it's a conflict or a war, much less why we're there. Was Iran a legitimate threat to the United States? That question is asked all the time.
Yeah, that is a great question.
Were we at risk of Iran bombing us? Well, no, they might have bombed our bases. Well, were our bases in the region at risk?
All right.
We're the United States of America, the
Let's
greatest
talk about the
military
bases real quick.
in the world.
On our news, there isn't any news about the bases in the Middle East. The damage to the United States base in the Middle East. But on the Turkish news, our supposed ally, right? A NATO ally, they say that over $2 billion worth of damage has been done to United States bases in the region. And they show several different bases that are now rubble. They talk about a $1.1 billion defense system for UAE that got destroyed in the initial wave of attacks on the first day. I mean, as U.S. citizens, we're not being told everything, not even close. Not even close. And if you're going to listen to anybody, let me throw out a couple facts here real quick. Listen to retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. All right? He said that the premise that this would be a 2 to 3 week war was hogwash, and that was on day one. Okay? He said there's no way that's going to happen. He says we might run out of missiles after 3 weeks, but Iran has positioned itself for a really long war. They have a huge underground network that we're obviously not touching because they keep firing missiles, even though we say we blow up all their whatever. Anyways, there's that guy. There's retired Colonel Douglas McGregor, former advisor for the Secretary of Defense. And he's been speaking out against this, saying that there's no way this would be a 2 to 3 week war. And he's really doom and gloom. I mean, he thinks that we're going to have an economic collapse, he predicted that oil prices would double or triple in a short period of time, which is already happening. And then, just yesterday, retired 4-star Admiral Tony Doherty had this to say. Through your actions, you have embarrassed us in the eyes of our children, humiliated us on the world stage, and worst of all, divided us as a nation. Way to go, Tony. I gotta say, that makes me feel good as an American to hear a retired former 4-star admiral speaking out against the president, because generally speaking, that don't happen a lot, okay? And that shows you the depth of how far we may have crossed the line in this. And in my opinion, whether we win this conflict or not, last summer I saw reports, again, from different news agencies in the Middle East that the Iranian Republican Army was over 3 million strong. And all the information about the underground tunnels that they built and all this stuff, it was all out there, okay? And And the Trump media would have us believe that there's less than 1 million Republican Army troops, half of which are reserves, okay, which I don't buy. And regardless of whether Trump's right or the other report I saw was right or it's somewhere in between, it really doesn't matter. There's 93 million people in Iraq, minus 1,600. Oh, what did I say, Iraq? Iran. What's the difference, right?
Good point.
I mean, but seriously, there's 93 million people in Iran. So at a bare minimum, we're looking at 3 million new jihadists and suicide bombers. I mean, does anybody remember what happened after 9/11 and then the Iraq war? How many hundreds of suicide bombers and thousands of people, innocent people dead? Okay? And that hasn't happened yet, but to think that it won't is, I don't know, God bless you. If you don't think that's going to happen, I hope you're right. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I hope Trump's right. We win this war in the next 10 days, which I don't believe for a second, but it's just like I don't believe that he killed all their leadership even one time. And he claims he killed all their leaders twice over. When the second in command has just been declared supreme leader, whatever. None of it makes sense, right? Because the man just is a chronic liar. And I realize that every president is a liar, but this guy, I mean, he gets the gold medal in my book. I'm sorry. He's the world champion liar. He belongs in the Guinness Book of World Records. That's my opinion. Kuba, what do you think?
Well, I voted for Trump in all 3 of his victories. And I've been on his side a lot. I really have over the last 3 election cycles, and I've had super high hopes. But I mean, it's in a tailspin now. I can't support what's happening. I can't support the lack of following up on what he said was going to happen. Now there is still time, but the clock's ticking. And all the promises he made about COVID and January 6th and the middle class and tax cuts and relief and Epstein, there's a whole list and everybody knows it. And so far it's just been a very disappointing. But okay, is he a liar? Gary, you calling him a liar? You're jumping down his throat like you always do.
I'm sick of him lying to me all the time. I'm just sick of it. It's my PTSD, man.
I understand.
I cannot handle liars. It's crossing my PTSD line.
Okay, but they're all liars.
True, they are all
They
liars.
all say whatever they have to say.
I never
And
had
they
sex with that
all
woman.
Put the hat on and go fly to another country and kiss the wall. They all do it. It's not just your favorite president, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think there's a lot of evidence that our government has been Zionist controlled since the 80s. And it's all coming out now.
The last president that was not Zionist controlled and that put his foot down was JFK.
Right. Look what happened to JFK. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you're off base at all. It's just, I think the general feeling that Trump takes it to the next level. There's a narcissism that we've all known a narcissist or currently know a narcissist. And
he's completely different in that regard.
He takes it to the level where he can never be wrong. He can never be wrong.
And he's just a chronic liar. I mean, he spits out lies about insignificant stuff that nobody cares. Do you think any American cares if we killed their leadership twice over? I mean, honestly.
Not if we not if we had a clear reasoning for being there in the first place.
Does he have any proof that we killed anybody other than the Ayatollah Khomeini? I mean, I haven't seen a single lick of proof that all these other leaders have been destroyed. Not one lick of evidence.
Well, someone told him that, probably.
Somebody told him that. So I'm telling you that devil worshiping is real, and I'm not a liar, okay? And if you don't believe it, that's on you, okay? So I was asked here in this email from our friend about the Epstein situation, and he wants more specifics. So I don't mean to switch topics, but I need to get this in before our half hour is up. I did some research, and many of you probably already know this. I'm not trying to regurgitate any old facts, okay? There are several bloggers out there, including Joe Rogan, and notable people like him that are calling this cannibalism and devil worship. Okay? Facts. Epstein is a known Zionist. Fact. Epstein is a known pedophile. Fact. Epstein built a suspected devil-worshipping temple on his island. So I dug into that, and on the internet, there's a lot of defense of this building, except for if you dig, I forget how I dug to the right spot, but what I found was an article from 2011 from our National Department of Interior. The Epstein, when he submitted plans for approval for this building that's on his island, it was supposed to be a music building, okay? And the building that he erected is completely different than the building that the plans were permitted for. And the Department of the Interior was going to go after him. They must have got paid off because the case kind of died out. But the bottom line is it's on record that the plans for the building that he submitted, the music building, and the building that's actually there are completely different. Now, they say because there's a piano in the building that it's a music building. And I seen some pictures of it, and I gotta tell you, what it looks like to me is a big open space where you could throw a piece of plastic over a big large piano, use it as an altar, and do whatever sacrifice or ritual you want to do. No problem, without any prying eyes. Okay, that's what it looks like to me. Now, can I prove it? No. But do I think it's plausible? Yes, I do. And I think as people are digging into these Epstein files, and they're finding out more and more information and linking more and more of these emails to cannibalism and devil worship, that what I'm saying today might seem a little more like reality a year or two from now, 10 years from now, who knows. But mark my words, I believe it. I believe that there's evil people out there, and I believe that they have control over our government.
So Gary, I've got two questions.
Fire away.
Is 95% of our elected officials who have control over this situation refusing to allow us to see and know what's happening and provide justice and throw people who need to go to jail in jail?
Let's address that.
And
let's address.
What are we prepared to do about it?
Let's address it because there have been several pedophiles named, including people like Bill Gates, a couple dukes or princes from England, several Americans. Our Congress knows these people. They know who these people are, and they're all connected to them. And sad, until we turn over our Congress, until we start hiring people that are willing to die to do the right thing and not take money from these corrupt influences, we're not going to see the change. Like Epstein Island, I didn't even finish my facts. In 2018, they ordered 6 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid, supposedly for the water conditioning system, for which they had ordered 4 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid in 2014.
That makes sense.
I'm curious. No, it doesn't. I'm curious how many islands that surround the Epstein Island that have the similar devices to create drinkable water use that level of sulfuric acid. I mean, anybody that doesn't know what sulfuric acid is if you drop bones into a vat of sulfuric acid, it will disappear. Okay, it eats it up. It's an evidence-destroying device.
And I believe it's hydrochloric acid for the pools and the water conditioning.
Yeah, who knows? I'm not an expert on that stuff, but honest to God, 6 55-gallon drums.
It wasn't for the pool.
Right around the time he got arrested to Epstein Island, presumably to destroy evidence. I mean, look, you don't have to believe that there's devil worshiping going on. You can live in your glass house, but the thing is that's been going on since before Jesus was born, okay? And it's still going on. And Epstein had an account in the name of Baal, B-A-A-L, and the internet tries to play it off as, oh, maybe he misspelled bank. Like you would go throw millions of dollars into an account labeled bank. That makes a ton of sense. No, he had an account under the name of Baal, B-A-A-L, which is, of course, associated with human sacrifice, cannibalism, and is another name for the devil.
Another name for the devil.
Right.
And so why, Pooba, don't they, why do our politicians?
Why do they cover it up and refuse to do anything about it, and what on earth can we do about it?
Why are they refusing to release the remaining 5? If this is what they did release, imagine what's in the stuff they didn't release.
So back to the Zionist argument. They haven't released a single email from Epstein in the 3 years surrounding the September 11th attacks. So what do we know about September 11th, right? Lucky Larry, the owner of the building, a Zionist most likely, presumably a Zionist. It's plausible that he's a Zionist.
He wasn't there because he got a
He was there every day except for the day the building blew up. He had a doctor's appointment or whatever. Okay.
He's lucky.
It was a coinky thing.
I read a report that 151 Jewish people also weren't in the building that were normally there that day. And my guess is
Another coinky thing.
my guess is every one of those 151 is a Zionist. Because I know that Jewish people were killed in 9/11, I remember. Okay? Which means the non-Zionist Jews were probably left to die. Okay? So if that's not a signal of the difference between Zionism and just regular old Judaism and Jews, I don't know what is. But it's like saying every Somalian's a crook in Minnesota. Well, 1.5% of the total population of Somalians ended up being charged. That means 98.5% of them were innocent. And my guess is,
Wait a second.
okay, maybe not 98.5 innocent, but let's face it, the majority, the mass majority of them are probably victims or innocent. Okay? Maybe the percentage of criminals is greater than 1.5. Maybe they'll expand to 2%. I don't know. But you can't tell me that over half of them are bad, because that it just doesn't carry water. And I don't think you can say that about Jews either. And that's why all this fallback against Jewish people nationwide that I'm seeing through these podcasts, and it's
Well, the excuse falls
it's
apart.
depressing.
The excuse is you're anti-Semitic if you say this. That falls apart because we're not talking about all Jewish people. We're talking about the Zionists.
I've met plenty of Jewish people in my life, and every one of them was a good person, and to the best of my knowledge, not a single one of them was a Zionist. Okay, it's kind of like saying every white man is a Nazi, or every Trump supporter is a hick with a low IQ, because that's not true. Well, I disagree, Pooh.
Forest Lake doesn't think you.
I know a lot of smart people that are Trump supporters. I don't think the Democrats have cornered the market on brains. Right? I'm not a Democrat. I'm smarter than any Democrat I've ever met. The day I meet a Democrat smarter than me is the day I'll admit it.
Well, again,
I haven't met that person yet, and I'm waiting for that day.
If they're outpaid by AIPAC, then there is no Democratic, Republican. They're all
right. There is no Democrat or Republican.
They're all paid by AIPAC, and you know what they just did recently? There was a bill, a vote, something was put forward to release the number of politicians, senators, or Congress people that had sexual harassment cases.
Oh yeah.
That had to be settled.
To pay everybody off.
From a slush fund.
Yeah.
The slush funds existed who knows how long, but they wouldn't even vote to release that information. Neither side would get they couldn't come to agreement to put out that dirty laundry.
I don't know. We might have to burn this thing down.
Yeah,
Well, I keep saying, you ask what can we do, and I generally don't know.
What can we do? I mean, the answers. One answer that I've heard from some people is we could have an uprising.
Stop paying taxes. I hear that a lot.
But honestly, I don't want to
have an uprising. You're gonna go to jail for not paying taxes.
I don't want to kill any innocents.
If we have an uprising, then it's compared to January 6th, and they say, "See, there's another uprising." And then you get
so that's not really feasible. I mean, what can we do? Well,
talk about it.
We can bully the bullies. We can use our wit, our wisdom, and our words to bully the bullies. We can all choose to do that and stand up. Now, I got nothing to lose. Trump wants to do something to me, or the Zionist media wants to come after me. By all means, go for it. You know, it's pretty clear to me that there's a heavily Zionistic influence in our government. And that is what we need to educate the American public about. It's not the Jews that are the problem, it's the Zionists. It's the political movement, Zionism, the Talmud. Okay, it is not Judaism. It's not people who worship God that are the problem. You know, just because they do it different than you doesn't mean they're a problem. All right? And just because there's a lot of really bad Jews called Zionists that are trying to, you know, reshape the world, doesn't mean that all Jews are bad. So we're pretty much out of time. So everyone, what's the last thing you'd like to say, Pete?
Well, we got a little heavy today.
We did.
Next week, I think we should focus on peace and love.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to focus on peace and love for a change. How about you, Bruce?
I would love for the Board of Peace to be the Board of Peace.
Right.
And we would like more input and responses. That would be amazing. Like our unnamed friend here.
So I'll say this, and there's a lot we didn't discuss as far as end of the world and stuff like that, news that's been coming out, that's been very disturbing, yet potentially plausible based on the actions we've seen from our government. I had a vision over 30 years ago, and in my vision, I saw the end of the world millions of times over, okay? Whether you choose to believe it or not is your choice, all right? But this much I can assure you of. If you're into Revelations and you understand Revelations, like some of my friends are deep into it and have a deep understanding of it, better than me, okay? When I read Revelations, all I saw was the 85%, the end of the world, the no hope scenario, we're done. Okay, our time will come. That's what I saw when I read Revelations. I saw echoes of that 85% where we fail as humanity and we become extinct. However, I firmly believe that there is real truth in the 15% scenarios I saw where we come together as one human race and we survive what's coming and we learn how to respect each other's differences. We learn how to respect Jews and Arabs alike in the same room, okay? Able to recognize each other's differences and respect them. Don't have to agree, you just have to respect them and learn to cooperate and learn to live in peace. Because if we don't come together as one human race, then we will certainly fail, become extinct. It's together we stand, divided we fall, okay? And to sum it up, there is an Indian chieftain from the Lakota tribe that also had a vision about the world and how we all came together worldwide as one human race and defeated whatever our foe is at our moment of truth, and we survive. So I'm going to pray that the 15% I saw in my vision is accurate. I'm going to pray that the positive vision of the future is accurate. And I'm going to pray that maybe John only saw the bad stuff and wasn't able to see the good stuff. Who knows? Who knows who's right and who's wrong? Okay? All I know is that Jesus taught us to love one another, to forgive one another, and he taught us that we need to learn how to help each other. Okay?
And serve one another.
And serve one another. And these things are not happening, and until they do, our chance of survival is nil. So thanks very much. Have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, comments, please email us at nomorebohica@gmail.com, and please have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.